Welcome to 2 Minutes to Change with Joost Smits, who studies politics in the Netherlands and is going to share heroes with us.
If you start research, you always have some conception or some idea of your field of work.
Yeah.
There's always something that you say, well, I'm going to research it, but I think it's this. It's more or less this complex of ideas. This is what I'm doing. And there are some people that change that. And the first person that I should mention is a Catalan priest. He lived in the 13th century. But he wrote a novel in the 13th century. And in that novel, you have to choose for a new abbess. And if you think about elections, the first elections were held in churches for a pope. Female voice by a Roman Catholic priest. He wrote the book. But she's the first who says, well, of course we have to vote for the abbess, but I heard of a new way to do this. And that was also the first time in history that anybody said, well, what? No way to do this. And this Brancarna, this novel was lost for quite some time. It's been found again. And then somebody discovered this the full description of a preference voting, which is something we do not do in the Netherlands. Yeah. You do not do that in the United States. It's all about preference. So you do not just vote for one person, you rank them. Yeah. You rank them.
The New York City governor, mayor's election just did it sort of that way, did it not?
And all the Dutch, if you go to a school in the Netherlands, you always learn you shouldn't break up aggregated data because that's wrong. That's called ecological fallacy. But that doesn't help me. Now, there's Gary King. He's a Harvard professor, and he, in 1997, he wrote a book on a solution to the ecological inference problem. And that's a magic book. That's a magic book.
It's a magic book.
That's a magic book. He wrote a magic book. She's Belgian. She's now at the University of Montreal. Ruth Dassonville. She's Flemish speaking, French speaking, but she's now in Canada. And she is all about the aligned voters and change and stability in voting behavior.
And here's his exceptional recommended focus.
Well, one thing that I've been working on for the last 2 years, but COVID got a bit in the way of that, is to implement my research for election and electoral voting on the climate transition, the energy transition. And what's important about that is that if you say, well, we all have to go through an energy transition, we have to make new choices for the future. You cannot stick with the things you've been doing. You have to do something else. If you just tell people to do that, lots of people will say no. But with my research, what I've shown is that if you can find out what people are willing to do, you can extend on that. And that's great. Jody helped me at that time, and she said she had the perfect title for that research, the paper that I supplied to the province. And she said, well, if you take the first step, it helps you to see the next step. You're not forced to do something against your will. No. You're just helped to make the next step decision. Because it's something you would have been willing to do anyway. Resisting the transition that we all have to do, well, that's not a solution.
Thanks for joining us.
This was awesome.
Thank you, Joost.
Okay. Yes. All right.
And say hi to the family.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.